Alright you guys, welcome to another live stream, Live with Irish, where we are doing a coffee tasting. Today we are tasting the Kenya Baragwi. So the Kenya Baragwi is a small lot coffee, and so I want to explain what small lot coffee means. And so small lot coffee is coffee from an initiative to like 10 to 100 farms. And so the Baragwi initiative is one of the most established initiatives in Kenya. They have been cultivating coffee since 1953. And so what's important about the small lot coffee is you're getting distinct flavors from that region of the world, as opposed to getting a whole bunch of flavors from different parts of the world being jam-packed into a bag. This, we're going to be tasting flavors distinct to the region that we are exploring. So with the Kenya Baragwi, this coffee is grown on the slopes of Mount Kenya with overlooking grasslands. So there's a large, vast plains of grasslands that this initiative kind of looks over. So it's really cool, the amazing view that this place has, and the environment that they get to grow their coffee in is just as amazing as the flavor of the coffee. And so today we're going to be brewing the Kenya Baragwi on the coffee press, and then we'll also be brewing the Kenya Baragwi on the pour over as well. And so we're going to be exploring the different flavors that we get when we brew coffee through different methods. And so with the pour over, we're just going to use a basic paper filter, and so that's going to filter out some of the oils and sediment, so it's going to kind of smoothen up the cup of coffee for us. While the French press is going to be a much bolder cup of coffee. We're going to get a lot more of those flavors that come through from the land. And so the tasting notes on the Kenya Baragwi is going to be black currant with orange and lime zest and a caramelized sweetness. And it's a full body wash. And so with that, a lot of those black currant notes are going to come from the full body wash process. And then some of those caramel notes are going to come through as well with that process as well. Normally with Kenya or African coffees, you tend to get like those high acidic coffee flavors, but that's typical to like when you sun dry a coffee, you get a lot of those acid flavors that absorb into the bean. But because this coffee is going to be a fully washed coffee, that's why we're getting more of those black currants and that caramelized sweetness, because we're not necessarily drying the bean drying the cherry on the bean, making like a grape almost. And so it's really cool that we're able to tell these kind of stories and kind of share the experience of the farmers, especially in parts of the world like Africa, where they don't have a lot of land that's farmable. And so that's something really cool that we're able to share with a lot of our small lot coffees, especially our African coffees. It's all about making sustainable farmland and kind of like expanding that land outwards. So we're able to take the cherries and put it back in the ground and create a mulch and make more fertilizer. So we're putting it back in the ground and kind of making it self-sustainable, which is really cool, and just helping the farmers keep continuing to grow coffee as well. And that's another really cool thing about small lot coffee, is these small lot initiatives. They come together and they roast and process the coffees on site, and so that kind of it mitigates the middleman. So we're sourcing our coffee directly from the farmers in most cases, and so it's enabling the farmers to kind of make more money and making sure that they're getting their fair wages and stuff like that. So it's all about impacting the community and making sure that we're giving back. And this is all about so that we can learn about those opportunities that we get when giving back to the people that we get our coffee from. So something for myself, eventually one day I would love to go to other parts of the world and help with like agricultural things, and just help different parts of the world develop. And after doing these coffee tastings and becoming a coffee master, learning all these different things that Starbucks does for the community through our small lot coffee program and the reserve bar, and even just our the initiative that we've been taking with our core coffees, making sure that there's fair trade farming and stuff like that that's going on, is really showing how much that Starbucks cares about the community that we source our coffee from. And so just by being employed with Starbucks, and then by being a customer with Starbucks as well, we all take part in helping other communities across the world in these farming communities. And so different parts of the world have their different stories to tell. I feel like African coffees are very culture and culture based because it's the origin of coffee, and then also it's all about agriculture as well, like making sure that we're making more farmland and making sure that people have places to live. And so it's awesome to learn those stories. And then with like Southeast Asian coffees, it's all about economy and culture, and then Latin America has just a vibrant history in culture and coffee, as well as science. So it's really cool to be able to learn all these different stories. Alright, so with the French press is going to really bring out a lot of those black currant notes. And so one of the first things we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and sniff our coffee. Alright, so one of the things that I'm really getting is that heavy bitters from the black currant, and then a little bit of that caramely sweetness. I'm not getting too much of the zest, but that's because we did it on the French press, so a lot of those more of those bitter notes are going to come forward. So right now what I'm feeling is like heavy, dark bitter notes, like towards the center of my tongue, kind of reach towards the back. It's not too heavy on the side, so I'm not feeling too much acidity right now. But it is a very smooth cup of coffee, that is for sure. Very easy to drink, even as a French press. So I'm excited to try it as a pour over. It should be very easy to drink as a pour over. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a lot of that black currant towards the center and towards the back of my tongue. That's kind of lingering by. It's kind of interesting because it almost tastes like chocolate. It almost got like a chocolatey mouthfeel but you know what? That's probably the sweet carameliness that's coming through. That's giving it a little bit of sweetness that brightens up that bitterness. All right, and then so here we have the pour over. So the pour over is going to be much lighter in flavor. We're not going to have as much of that sediment flavor, or sediment flavor, but we're not going to have as much of that sediment in the coffee, and then not as much of the oils. So it's not going to be nearly as the black currant should probably most definitely not be as predominant in this cup. Oh yeah. Okay. So with this cup, we're getting a lot more acids, and then a lot more of that caramely sweetness comes through at the end. And so I'm not getting so much of that bitterness towards the center of my tongue. When I drink the pour over, I'm immediately getting strong flavors on the side. So I'm getting a lot of that orange zest lemon flavors, and then I'm left with a sweet flavor afterwards. So after I've like let my palate clear, I'm definitely tasting that caramely sweetness. So this is a prime example of like the vast different flavors that you get through brewing coffees different ways. So depending on whether or not you like your coffee with your like that dark bitteriness with the syrupy mouthfeel, or if you like the bright, almost tea-like coffee, that's going to impact the way you're going to want to brew your coffee. If you want more oils or more sediment or less oils, what you're trying to do, that's going to impact the way you brew your coffee. In this case, I'm not a big acidic fan when it comes to coffee. I'm not really looking for those bright acidic notes. So this coffee, I'm actually a really big fan of this coffee on the French press. It tastes really good. And I actually kind of tend to shy away from African coffees because I'm not a big fan of the high acidity and high like acidic notes like the lemon zest and stuff. It gives it like that strong tea flavor, almost like the herbally flavor. And I'm more of like the nutty, caramely flavor with the hints of chocolate. That's my favorite cup of coffee. And so that's brewing this on the French press actually kind of makes it to where it brings out more of those bitters, so it gives it that more chocolatey mouthfeel with that caramely sweetness that comes out at the end. It's really good. This is my... Now I know that if I were to get African coffee, typically, probably best served on a French press for me. That is good coffee. Alright, and so this coffee, this initiative these initiatives are really awesome to talk about because just the fact that they're able to come together and grow coffee and process coffee on site and share information and knowledge, and the way that they run things, it's really awesome. They don't have to rely on like a third party to process the beans for them, and then they're also getting their fair wages and they're making their life's due, and it's awesome to be a part of making an impact across the world. And so these reserve coffees are just a way for us to kind of tell a story on ways that we can impact different parts of the world from across the seas. So if any of you guys have questions on the coffee tasting, I'm just gonna sit here and sip some coffee and hang out. If you guys have any questions, go right ahead and fill up chat. I'm checking it out right now. I'm gonna be wired off of French press this morning. It's gonna be nice. So I guess while I sip some coffee, I'll talk about a little about my coffee journey. What I mean by my coffee journey is my time at Starbucks. I've been with Starbucks for 11 years, and it's been an interesting long road. I'm definitely a better person for all of it. I'm adopted. I have 10 brothers and sisters. 5 of us are adopted. My adopted parents had 3, and then my mom remarried, and her new husband has 2, so that makes 10 of us total. So we have a very large family, and then most of us were homeschooled our whole lives until we got to high school. So there was a lot of social awkwardness that went on when going into high school. And so I wasn't very good at speaking. And so after getting a job at Starbucks and learning about coffee and becoming a coffee master and starting to do coffee tastings, it has really changed me as a person. And the fact that I'm able to talk about coffee the way I talk about coffee these days, and then able to interact and socialize with other people, and kind of using coffee as an outlet to bring up subjects and topics is kind of like helped me come out of my box and learn to talk. So it's kind of cool, and I something that I do personally is I really try to do that same thing for people that I see that could use that kind of encouragement as well. So whenever I see someone who is a little quiet or could use a little bit more encouragement or fuel, I challenge them and try and get them to talk a little bit more and try and educate them. Give them topics on like how to talk and what to talk about. Because it's all about learning. It's all about willing to share your knowledge with other people, and not you always want to care a little bit, but at the end of the day, like you want to be so relaxed that you can share with others at the same time and not have to worry about criticism. And that is the hard part. And that is something that I have really overcome through my time at Starbucks and through my coffee tastings and exploring coffee culture. And so that is how Starbucks has impacted me and my life. And so if Starbucks has impacted any of you guys in any way, I would love to hear it. Go ahead and comment down below in the chat box how Starbucks has impacted you in your life, if it has, in a positive or a negative way. But I'd love to hear those positive impacts. Looks like that is it, you guys, for the live stream. I gotta cut it here. So thank you guys, everyone, for joining me in the live stream. The Kenya Baragwi, an amazing African coffee, fully washed with black currant, orange and lime zest notes, and a caramelized finish. My preferred brew is on the French press, but if you like that bright, almost tea-like coffee, it is really good on the pour-over as well. So whatever your preferred brew is, that's the way I would brew it, you guys. Have a great day, and thank you guys for joining.